Man, say your prayers. And we're gonna think positive because you gotta help each other get off the floor. Now, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. You're doing a good job, ma'am. You're doing a good job.
It's so hot. I'm burning up.
Okay, if you don't, the floor is hot and everything is hot.
Shaughnessy, I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York.
Neil, it's Brian. A plane crashed into the trade center. It's on fire, and I'm in it, and I can't breathe.
Jill, there's a fire on my floor. I love you, Jill. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
And you can see the two towers, a huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way!
It all started in 1979 when the Soviet Union rolled its tanks into Afghanistan and began a new kind of war. Across the Muslim world, volunteers answered a call to defend their faith. Among them was a young Saudi millionaire's son, Osama bin Laden. He wasn't a soldier trained by any state. He was driven by belief. With family wealth and charisma, he built camps, moved supplies, and preached that fighting foreign occupiers was a sacred duty, jihad. What the world didn't know was that this conflict would forge the roots of a movement destined to strike America itself. Secretly, the United States and its allies funded the Afghan resistance, the Mujahideen, to bleed the Soviets and weaken their empire. Washington saw it as another front in the Cold War. Bin Laden saw it as divine proof that faith could defeat a superpower. By 1989, more than 1 million Afghans were dead, the Soviets losing thousands of soldiers. The Soviets withdrew, leaving only ruins and weapons behind. To bin Laden, that retreat was a sign from God that Islam's warriors could humble empires. But victory bred disillusion. He saw new American military bases rise on Saudi soil, the land of Islam's holiest cities, as what must not stand. What he once called an ally now looked to him like an occupier. His anger turned toward the same United States that had once armed the cause he fought for. Osama bin Laden was one of more than 50 children of Mohammed bin Laden, a Yemeni laborer turned construction magnate. His father's empire built palaces for the Saudi royal family. By the time Osama was born, the bin Laden name meant power, wealth, and loyalty to the monarchy. At King Abdul Aziz University, Osama studied business but was drawn to religion and radical thinkers. He learned from men like Muhammad Qutb, brother of the Islamist philosopher Sayyid Qutb, and the militant preacher Abdullah Azzam. These mentors didn't just shape his faith, they taught him how to market it. They gave him words, structure, and the ability to build an organization. After the Soviet war ended, Osama returned to Saudi Arabia, a celebrated veteran. But the glow didn't last. In 1990, when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, bin Laden offered to defend Saudi Arabia with his network of battle-hardened fighters. The monarchy refused. Instead, it invited American troops to station on its sacred land. To bin Laden, it was betrayal. The land of the Prophet was now guarded by unbelievers. That moment cracked his loyalty forever. In 1991, he left Saudi Arabia and went into Sudan, where he poured his fortune into building roads, farms, and a new militant base. But his fiery sermons against the Saudi royals and the United States drew attention. By 1996, international pressure forced Sudan to expel him. That same year, he returned to Afghanistan, now under the protection of the Taliban. There, in mountain caves and dusty compounds, Osama bin Laden reforged his dream. A war not against one country, but against the entire Western world. He called his network al-Qaeda, Ziz, the base. And the base began to act. By the mid-1990s, Osama bin Laden had transformed from a former ally of the West into its most determined enemy. His new home, Afghanistan, was torn apart by civil war but offered one priceless gift: sanctuary. The Taliban, an extremist movement born from Afghan refugee schools, controlled most of the country. They admired bin Laden's piety, his wealth, and his battlefield legacy. In exchange for loyalty, they granted him protection. From the shadows, al-Qaeda began to grow, a network of militants spread across continents. They weren't soldiers in uniform, they were engineers, students, merchants, and fanatics. Men who believed they were chosen to strike back at the enemies of Islam. In 1996, bin Laden released a manifesto, a fatwa, calling for jihad against the United States. He accused America of plundering Muslim oil, occupying the Arabian Peninsula, and corrupting Islamic nations with puppet governments. He told followers that their mission was not revenge, it was divine duty. He wanted to provoke the United States into a war that would awaken Muslims worldwide. 2 years later, he issued a second fatwa, formalizing al-Qaeda's alliance with the Egyptian Islamic Jihad led by Ayman al-Zawahiri. Together, they created a global network capable of coordinated strikes. Then came August 7, 1998. 2 near-simultaneous blasts ripped through the U.S. embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The explosions killed 224 people, injured thousands, and sent a message the world could no longer ignore. Al-Qaeda had declared war. The United States retaliated. President Bill Clinton ordered cruise missile strikes on suspected al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan and Sudan. But bin Laden escaped, and the strikes, instead of silencing him, elevated him into a legend. He became the face of defiance. In secret videos, bin Laden began addressing the Muslim world directly. His speeches were calm, deliberate, and chillingly persuasive. He spoke of Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, Chechnya, and Somalia, of Muslim suffering across the globe. Each grievance, he said, had one source: America and its allies. His 2002 letter to the American people would later spell out these grievances with brutal clarity. He wrote that America was attacked because of its support for Israel, its sanctions on Iraq, and its occupation of the Arabian Peninsula. He accused the U.S. of stealing the wealth of the Muslim world and of supporting governments that oppressed their own people. "We will not rest until we drive you out from every corner of Islam," he said. In October 2000, al-Qaeda struck again, this time targeting the USS Cole, a U.S. Navy destroyer refueling in Yemen. 2 suicide bombers rammed an explosives-filled boat into its side, killing 17 sailors and injuring dozens more. Once again, America struck back with missiles, and again, bin Laden survived. By the end of the century, his organization had metastasized. Cells emerged in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Libya, Bosnia, Chechnya, and even the Philippines. Bin Laden had become more than a man. He was now a symbol, a shadow, a movement. And now he was preparing for the attack that would change history forever. It began like any other Tuesday. Morning commuters filled the subways, coffee cups in hand, unaware that history was already in motion above their heads. At 8:46 a.m., the first plane, American Airlines Flight 11, struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. For a brief moment, the world thought it was an accident. 17 minutes later, a second plane, United Airlines Flight 175, slammed into the South Tower.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
The illusion ended. America was under attack. Each plane was hijacked by members of al-Qaeda following bin Laden's orders. Their mission was not to escape, it was to die, to burn a message into the heart of the West. At 9:37 a.m., Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon, tearing through one of the most secure buildings on Earth. And at 10:03 a.m., Passengers aboard Flight 93, who had learned of the earlier attacks, fought back, forcing their hijacked plane down in a Pennsylvania field. They died as heroes, preventing another disaster. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed in a roar of smoke and steel.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
29 minutes later, the North Tower followed. A city drowned in dust. The unthinkable had happened. In less than 2 hours, nearly 3,000 lives were gone. Firefighters, office workers, parents, and children vanished in a storm of flame and rubble. The United States and the world stood frozen.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
And somewhere in the mountains of Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden watched. His plan had worked. He had struck the world's strongest nation at its core, using its own airplanes as weapons. Across continents, disbelief turned into grief, and grief turned into anger. Within days, U.S. intelligence confirmed what many had already feared. Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, was responsible. On September 20th, 2001, President George W. Bush addressed Congress and the American people. His voice was steady, his message absolute. Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end there. It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated. He demanded the Taliban hand over bin Laden and dismantle his camps. They refused, and so America declared war. On October 7, 2001, the U.S. launched Operation Enduring Freedom. Cruise missiles rained down on Taliban strongholds. Special forces units swept across mountains and caves. Within weeks, Kabul had fallen, and the Taliban regime collapsed. But bin Laden had vanished. Tracked to the Tora Bora mountains, U.S. forces surrounded his hideout in December. They bombed the ridges for days, thousands of pounds of explosives shaking the earth. When the smoke cleared, he was gone. Bin Laden had slipped through the cracks of history into Pakistan's tribal belt, a shadow among shadows. President Bush made his stance clear. I want justice. And there's an old poster out west that says wanted, dead or alive. The U.S. placed a $25 million bounty on bin Laden's head, but no one came forward. For years, bin Laden moved silently between safe houses, shielded by loyal tribesmen. He issued video messages taunting the West, his beard now gray, his words still venomous. While the world searched mountains, he was hiding in plain sight, in a quiet Pakistani city called Abbottabad. In November 2002, bin Laden released a document titled Letter to the American People. It wasn't an apology. It was a justification. He accused the U.S. of killing Muslims in Somalia, supporting Israel, and enforcing sanctions on Iraq that starved children. He claimed America's freedom was corrupt, its democracy hypocrisy, and its prosperity built on the blood of others. "You are the worst civilization witnessed by the history of mankind," he wrote. "You build your glory on the bones of the oppressed. We fight you because you invade our lands, because you support the oppressors of our people, and because your policies bring only humiliation and death." His words were venom wrapped in conviction, and for many they revealed the twisted logic behind 9/11. Osama bin Laden had declared war on the world's most powerful nation, and the world responded. But for the families of the victims, no war, no speech, and no bounty could ever bring back what was lost that morning. The man behind it all would vanish for a decade, until the night when America would come for him. It had been 10 years since September 11th. 10 years since the towers fell. Since the smoke covered Manhattan. Since the hunt for the world's most wanted man began. Osama bin Laden had become a ghost. But in August 2010, that ghost made a mistake. For years, intelligence agencies had tried to track him through his inner circle. Every lead went cold, until one name resurfaced: Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, bin Laden's trusted courier. The CIA traced him to a mysterious compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, a quiet military town just an hour from the capital, Islamabad. The building was unlike anything nearby. High concrete walls, barbed wire, no phone lines, and burning trash instead of garbage collection. Inside lived a man who never left, tall, older, and constantly guarded. To the CIA, that man could only be one person. The hunt was over. Now came the decision: how to end it. For months, the intelligence community debated. Was it truly him? There was no photo, no voice recording, only patterns, shadows, and routines. Even at their most certain, analysts gave it only 60 to 80% probability. On April 28, 2011, President Barack Obama made his choice. There would be no missile strike, no bombs from above. Too much risk of collateral damage. Too much room for doubt. Instead, he ordered a covert ground assault, led by Navy SEAL Team 6, America's most elite warriors. The mission was codenamed Operation Neptune Spear. May 1st, 2011. 2 Black Hawk helicopters lifted off from Jalalabad, Afghanistan, carrying 23 SEALs, a CIA translator, and a combat dog named Cairo. It was a moonless night, perfect for stealth. They crossed the border into Pakistan, flying low through valleys to avoid radar. At 12:30 a.m., they reached the compound. As one helicopter hovered over the walls, the air shifted, and the aircraft lost lift, crashing into the courtyard. No one was killed. The SEALs immediately switched to Plan B. The mission continued. The team split into squads. Room by room, floor by floor, they cleared the building. They found women and children terrified but unharmed. Then on the 3rd floor, they reached a narrow hallway, and there he was, Osama bin Laden, unarmed but not surrendering. One SEAL later recalled, he was peeking out from a doorway. The threat was clear. 2 shots were fired, one to the chest, one above the left eye. At 12:56 a.m., the world's most wanted man was dead. The operation had taken less than 40 minutes. A decade of fear, war, and pursuit ended in under an hour. The SEALs gathered everything: drives, papers, flash disks, and body samples. They destroyed the crashed helicopter to prevent secrets from leaking, then exfiltrated at high speed. At 2:30 a.m., they radioed one simple message back to base: Geronimo EKIA, enemy killed in action. Hours later, DNA testing confirmed it beyond doubt. It was Osama bin Laden. His body was flown to the USS Carl Vinson, a U.S. aircraft carrier in the North Arabian Sea. Following Islamic tradition, he was washed, wrapped in a white shroud, and buried at sea. No grave, no monument, just the endless ocean. This was done to avoid his burial site becoming a monument of worship. President Obama says, "Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world. The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
Justice has been done. People poured into the streets of Washington, New York, and beyond. Tears, laughter, and disbelief merged in one sound. The release of 10 years of pain, reactions rippled across the globe. For some, it was justice. For others, a warning. That violence begets violence. Leaders from every corner of the world spoke. Even critics of the U.S. admitted. The chapter of fear had closed, but the war on terror was far from over. Al-Qaeda did not die with its founder. Its ideology splintered, reborn through franchises in Yemen, Syria, and Africa. And years later, a new terror group would rise from the ashes of Iraq, ISIS, claiming to be his heirs. Osama bin Laden believed that by striking fear, he would force the West to retreat. Instead, he united nations against him. His death was not the end of terrorism, but it was the end of the man who turned faith into fire and ideology into ashes. The towers have been rebuilt, the scars remain. And in the quiet hum of New York's night, the names of the lost still whisper. Never again. Bin Laden's death was supposed to close the book on 2 decades of war. Instead, it opened new chapters written in shadows. The United States stayed in Afghanistan for another decade. Drone warfare intensified across Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, hunting the next generation of jihadists. Each missile that struck a safe house also sent shockwaves through villages, creating new anger, new grief, and sometimes new recruits. Without its founder, al-Qaeda fractured. Its senior leadership went underground. Communication became cautious, scattered. But in the vacuum, regional affiliates took control. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, and Al-Shabaab in East Africa. Each claimed the same flag but fought different wars. What bin Laden once centralized through charisma and funding, his successors maintained through ideology alone. Amid the ruins of Iraq, a new figure emerged. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, a brutal militant once dismissed as too extreme even for al-Qaeda. His network thrived on sectarian violence, targeting both U.S. forces and Shia civilians. After Zarqawi's death in 2006, his followers regrouped under a new banner, the Islamic State of Iraq. Years later, amid the chaos of Syria's civil war, that name would evolve into something far more dangerous. ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. ISIS learned from bin Laden but rejected his restraint. Where al-Qaeda struck the distant enemy, ISIS conquered territory. Where bin Laden used VHS tapes, ISIS used high-definition terror. Online, global, immediate. In 2014, their leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared a caliphate from the pulpit of Mosul's great mosque, calling on Muslims worldwide to join his war. Within months, thousands answered, from Europe, North Africa, and even the West. The world had killed one symbol of terror and inherited another, born from the very chaos his death had left behind. The United States found itself back where it began, leading a global coalition, this time against ISIS. Airstrikes pounded strongholds. Special forces raids hunted commanders. In 2019, al-Baghdadi was cornered in Syria. Like bin Laden before him, he refused to surrender, detonating his own vest as U.S. forces closed in. Another chapter ended in dust and smoke. 2 decades of war had claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. From Manhattan to Mosul, from Kandahar to Baghdad, the line between revenge and justice blurred. President Bush once said America would spend whatever it takes, and it did. Trillions of dollars, generations of soldiers, and uncountable civilians. Victory proved harder to define than vengeance. Osama bin Laden believed that one strike could bring an empire to its knees. Instead, his war reshaped the world, changing airports, politics, and privacy forever. His death did not end extremism, but it exposed the limits of terror itself. Empires endure, but every bomb leaves a wound that time must heal. For a generation, the world has lived in the long shadow of 9/11. The question that remains is not why he attacked, but whether we have learned what that day was meant to teach. 20+ years later, the towers stand again. The world moves forward, but beneath the concrete and glass lies a memory that built this century. A reminder that even the smallest act of hate can rewrite the future. In memory of all who lost their lives in the war on terror.